Morning, good morning.
Good
Okay.
morning.
Good morning, Dr. Kulah. Thank you so much for being on the Red Corner Show. Welcome,
Anytime.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And I know you're busy schedule, so we're all excited that you have a moment to just tell us something about the amazing work that you're doing. So,
Well,
we're discussing yesterday, and I was like, yes, with her profile, we won't get through much, but we'll try to do what we can just to hear about on the Red Corner Show about your amazing work.
thank you.
So I'm Marjanne Baker and the host of the Red Corner Show Liberia. I'm an educator and have been doing quite a lot of work in Liberia, particularly in the area of the science, technology, engineering, art, and math program. And Dr. Kulah and I have been doing something together. So she came for the inspiration, and I was like, yes, let me see if she can take a minute to join our show. So let's just get into it. And I want to go back a little bit to your amazing profile to just talk briefly about some of what you're doing. But before we start, I just want you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about some of the work that you're doing and just share for a minute your work.
All right. Well, my full name is Clarice Ford-Kulah. So I am an educator. I am a producer, a writer, I guess tourism enthusiast, if you will. I love giving back to the community. So a lot of my work is in fact along those lines. As far as education, my passion in this life is to really educate as many people, as many children as I can. So I do a lot of work in and outside of Liberia. Right now, I'm doing a lot of work in Liberia because, as you know, our education system is a little bit shaky. And so right now, I write children's books. I have different series that teaches different things because my goal is to make sure that children in Liberia also have opportunities as kids anywhere else around the world. We do infuse a little bit of the culture into what we're doing. We also infuse a little bit of arts. We infuse a little bit of technology, so pretty much like a STEAM program. So I do support schools in Liberia that need schools. I do fundraisers to help schools get what they need, to help schools pay teachers, things of that nature. Because again, just because children don't have money doesn't mean that they should not have the best. And so a lot of the schools that I give back to are schools that are in low socioeconomic areas that are deserving of having a great education. Apart from that, I do some writing on the side. I do some filmmaking. I love that. I do some stuff in Nollywood. I do some stuff in Hollywood sometimes. I do just a lot of different things. But a lot of my stories that I write personally are social message type stories. And then, of course, there's tourism. My goal is to also sell Liberia to the world. So tourism is a huge part of what I do. As I'm talking to people about Liberia, the education system, and all that other stuff, I'm also mentioning about the tourist attractions that we have there, the natural resources that we have there. So just trying to get Liberia on the map, where it needs to be.
Okay, awesome. So we're talking today with Dr. Clarice Ford-Kulah, and she's from Liberia but lives in the US. And what state exactly?
Georgia.
Georgia, okay.
Yes.
So we want to know how one of the things that we do on the Red Corner Show, how do you balance such an amazing career with your philanthropy work and family? How are you able to do that? So please share with us a little bit about let me first say I know you do the humanitarian work you do here with medically fragile children, airlifting them. Please share a little bit more about that.
Okay, so my mother is in Liberia, and she has a foundation. It's called HealthPage Liberia Inc. And so with HealthPage, what we do, we airlift medically ill children and bring them to America and other countries for surgery. A lot of the kids have, cancer or certain tumors that are growing larger than they need to grow. Some kids are burn victims. we don't have the resources in Liberia. Some of the doctors we need for these children are not there. So naturally, we have to airlift them. We've been very blessed in that department to have organizations here that we work alongside. So we work with hospitals that will do the surgeries pro bono, and then we just do a little fundraiser. And we have other organizations that will help to take care of, housing sometimes, food, things of that nature. And then there's the Ronald McDonald House. So sometimes they help out and let the kids stay there. And then there's my house. When all else fails, we will take children that will stay with us because they'll have the surgery. Then they have to be here for a period of time, sometimes 6 months to a year. So they stay, you give them food, you take them to and from the doctor's appointments. I love that because there's so many medically ill children. And it's so funny. My daughter used to want to be a ballerina. She's very good at it. She's been dancing since she was 2.5. But we had a child in our home that had cancer. She ended up passing away. It was a very tough time, but my kid saw that growing up. And then the kid that came that had some issues that were taken care of, my daughter saw that surgery. She immediately said, "This is what I want to do." Now she says she wants to be a pediatrician. She wants to be able to operate on children and make them feel the joy that she saw these other kids feel after their surgeries. So, philanthropy work is wonderful. I won't lie, I love doing it. I love the smiles on their faces when they have been restored. Yep.
Okay. Shamila Ron, who you met earlier, the founder of the Red Corner Show, she still has such a soft spot for children. And she's promoting the Princess D Menstrual Cup. I'm sure you'll get to meet her at another time. But share with us a little bit about the production, the movie production, and with Lisa Raye and LOT10 it is. Please give us a little snippet of.
Okay, so like I said, a lot of the work that I do is social message type films. And the one that we did with Lisa Raye McCoy, my friend LOT10, she had some family members that delved into a little bit of, skin bleaching, that kind of concept, which we all know as brown skinned women, that has come across many of our tables. And so she wanted to do a story about it. So I said, okay, let's put our heads together, because I myself, I've met people that had issues with that, and all my work is in social message. So I was thinking alongside that, we can do this, we can do it together, we can write the story, and then we can, try to produce it. So we got the story together. Once the script was ready, I sent it to her. She liked it. And then we thought about Lisa Raye McCoy. So we contacted another friend, Sharon, who put us in touch with Lisa. And once Lisa Raye read the story, she was like, "Oh, I want to do this." And so that's how that came to be. And then we brought Van from Ghana, and then we had a few of our Hollywood actors come together, and that's how we were able to do the film. But it touched on loving yourself, loving who you are, being comfortable in your own skin. You don't have to bleach your skin or change your face or your nose, your eyes, whatever, to look like somebody else. You're God's image, you're made in God's image, and you're beautiful just as you are. So that was the message with that film. And then a lot of the other work, really, like I said, my focus is usually social message, things like PTSD, mental health issues that people don't deal with, especially in our community. I like to tackle those things through film. And then, of course, I do films for other people. So, that kind of stuff. And then we did one called Providence, which was just to pay homage to Liberia. We wanted to let people know about Liberia before the 200-year celebration would come. So we were able to shoot that film partially in Liberia. We brought Lisa Wu. We brought Dimitri McKinney, of course, Roger Bob, who used to be Tyler Perry's right-hand guy. We brought them to Liberia. We shot. We had Vivica Fox. We shot her scenes here in the States. So we try to bring people from both groups, from Africa, and then also from the U.S., put ourselves together, because again, at the end of the day, we're one people. So we were able to accomplish that, and we shot Providence. As a matter of fact, Providence should be going onto Tubi or one of these platforms pretty soon. We've got some movies on Tubi. We've got movies in different places. And then I do some work in the Nollywood spectrum. I think there's a new movie on Netflix that we did. Part of it we shot in Atlanta, and the rest was shot in Nigeria, and I think, but we've been very blessed to be able to do films that have made it to larger platforms. We did one film for Nollywood that was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the highest grossing films in the history of Nigerian cinema. So that was a plus. So we do a lot of different things here. And filmmaking is a way to tell our stories, especially those of us from Africa. We have a lot of stories to tell. And I love the fact that I have the opportunity to be in this space where I can help our people tell their stories.
Wow, wow, awesome. I know I had a little opportunity to hear more about the movie Providence when you all were here for the bicentennial. Amazing. I mean, I haven't seen the film yet. You said is it on Netflix now?
It should be not Netflix. I think it's gonna be on Tubi. I'm not sure, but it should be coming out soon. I need to call the distributor to find out. It was supposed to be in Black History Month, which is February. So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to find out today. And I actually have another one on Tubi that warns against signing documents without reading them first, especially for the females. So everybody has heard of a prenuptial agreement, which is what you sign before you get married. Not many people know about the post-op. Sometimes you're already married and then your spouse is like, I need you to sign this paper. Make sure you read between the lines. So we have a movie that's on Tubi that addresses that issue. Just like I said, social justice, social messages, those kinds of films are right up my alley. And then I'm working on a couple of new things. I can't tell you about it just yet, but a couple of things are coming down the pike that I'm very excited about. One will be about music, which I love, and then another one, again, will be about Liberia, which I love. So two major ones are coming down the pike. We're working behind the scenes right now to get our funding together so we can film.
Okay. Man, such an amazing career, such an amazing career. One of the things I want to ask you, how are you able to, with family?
Oh yes, I forgot that part. Yeah, you mentioned the balance. Okay.
20 daughters.
Yeah. So the balancing in the beginning, it was a little tough because I'll be honest with you. So I was a college professor for a long time. I was also a school teacher for a long time. A writer, all of that. I've been doing that for many years. I direct stage plays. I teach dance, all that stuff. So all of those things were pretty cool. Then the twins were born. I have my twins. My twins were born. And I was like, okay, now, I love children. I've been waiting my entire life to have kids. I definitely need to let go of some of these things that I'm doing right now. So I had to leave work and I was making good money. I'm not even going to lie. I was making good money at that point, but I needed to be with my children. So, and then my husband was in a car accident during that same time. And I thought, this is going to be a lot for me. So I put in my resignation letter. I opened up my first school because I needed income. I said, well, I got to have income. So I got to open up a school. Opened up my first school. It went very well. The next year I opened up a second school. The next year I opened up a third school. So I ended up with 3 schools. In that time frame, my old boss from the college called and she said, Dr. Kulah, I need you, please. I can't fill this class with anybody else but you. Can you come back to work? At this point, my kids are like in pre-K. And I said, well, I'll help you out. I'll do this for a year, but only a year now, because I have to get back to what I do with my kids. So I started helping for a year. That year turned 6th year. I was like, oh my God, no. So balancing that was a little tough because I would drop the kids off at school. My husband would drop the kids off at school. I would go to one of my other schools in the morning because I would go to all 3 of my schools in the morning to check on things. Then I would go to the college and teach. Then on my way home, I had a nanny that would pick up the children and bring them to the house. So I did that for the first year. And I was like, this is not going to work. And then I started filming while all of that was going on. So then I said, okay, I need to get rid of some things. So now I'm down to only 1 school, which is great for balancing. And I'm able to travel freely to Liberia and do, my philanthropy work without any problems. So the balance for me is training your kids very well. The Bible says, train up your kids in the way they should go. When they're old, they won't depart from it. My kids have been well trained. From the time they were little, I taught them everything. Because when my husband was in his accident, I knew that we had to make some changes. And I knew that a lot of the burden would fall on my shoulders. So I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We have these schedules. We're going to keep these schedules. My kids are in college now and doing exceptionally well. They're able to take care of themselves. They cook their own food, meals. Liberian food and American food. Oh, yes. They cook their own food. They do their own laundry. They were doing that when they were in the house because I tried to train them. Because if you're going to have that balance, then your kids need to be able to do, they need to be able to take care of themselves. And they need to be able to, just manage because I didn't want them to not be able to do things just because I was busy. And I was never busy for them. Trust and believe. I went on every field trip with them. Oh, yes. I went to lunch once a week with my children. We took family vacations every year, sometimes 2, 3, 4 vacations. We did everything together. So, the balance was there. I made sure I devoted X amount of hours to this activity, X amount of hours to that activity. If I had to go for an event, I made sure I only stayed 1 hour. People in Atlanta tease me because they call me the 1 hour lady. I go somewhere, we don't like to start on time. I'm like, okay, I'm here. You got 1 hour. If it's not done in an hour, I'm leaving. My daughter is an avid ballerina. I took her to every ballet practice. I never missed a show. I went to all her shows. When she was dancing competitively, we went out of town. I had to do that. So as long as it fit within the schedule of my children, I could do it. If it didn't fit in the schedule, then it wasn't going to happen. And I let people know, give me your dates. Let me see if I can work around my kid's schedule. If not, it's a no for me. So that's how I was able to balance that. I'm not going to say it was easy because it wasn't, because I was also the youth director at my church and I was teaching dance at the church. I was also a trustee at the church and we had meetings, all those different things were going on. But again, I made sure that my kids were always with me. Or they were always in activities, keeping them busy, that kind of stuff. So, but it worked out, and I've led a very blessed life. I won't. Oh my goodness, yes, very, very blessed life.
It's such a blessing, and we thank you for it. It's such an inspiration.
Thank you
to many of us
with
the work you're doing and family, because of course, as we know, our greatest role is the family.
Oh yes,
the parent, a wife, and and to be able to put all of that together in this fast pace. I mean, it's so we applaud you. We applaud you.
Thank you. And another thing,
go ahead.
Another thing I forgot to mention. So one of the things was, like, with a lot of what I do, I take my kids along with me. So when I'm filming movies, my daughter was always with me. When I, whatever I'm doing, even when I go to do my philanthropy work, I take them because I want them to see what it means to give back. I don't want my kids to ever feel like we've got everything we need, and not give back. So my children give back. Even right now, my kids have adopted 2 children in Liberia that they're paying the tuition for. And I told my son, make sure you save some money because every year you're paying this kid's tuition. You said this is what you wanted to do. You can't renege. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. So they know every year you got to find $100 or whatever the fee is. You're going to pay this kid's tuition. So they've been able to give back in that life. If we're going to feed the hungry, if we're going to go to the nursing home, we all went together. So they were always a part of what I was doing. Oh, I think you're muted.
It's okay. So I just want to say, I want to talk a little bit more about you have such an incredible journey, Clarice, Dr. Kulah, but of resilience and teamwork. So one of the things you just did, you write children books.
Yes.
Books for children. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Well, writing's always been my passion. Since I was a little girl, I wrote songs, I wrote books, I wrote stories, all kinds of things. I'm an avid reader. I read to my children every single night of their life. Every day we read stories before they went to bed. I read them bedtime stories. And they will always have favorite books. They'll say, read it again. And I saw the joy that it gave my children. I wanted to give back to the Liberian kids as well. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to write some new series. So I've got a set of 8 books and I've got another set of 6 books. Some of them are all about me. They talk about, being yourself, who you are as a person. Some of the books are, the 5 senses where you talk about your body, how amazing your body is. Some of the books talk about the family. So we talk about the Liberian culture. I live in this village. My aunties, my uncles, all these people help to take care of me. I don't have to go to a babysitter. My aunties and uncles are my babysitter, those kinds of things. So the book, there's one called God Gave Me Feelings. I wanted to write that book because of the fact, in a lot of our African communities, we don't talk about our feelings, especially the children. The adult is always right. The kids are supposed to just sit there and listen to what we say, but we're not always right. In my household, I encourage my kids to tell me things. If I do something you don't like, you come in, you tell me, and we're going to talk about it. And I'll tell you why I did it. You can tell me how it made you feel and vice versa. So I wanted every kid to have that experience. And then too, some children look at themselves, they say, oh, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too dark, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too this, I'm too that. Well, guess what? God gave you those features. He made you in his image. Therefore, you're beautiful. Don't be worried about what other people think of you. Worry about what what God thinks of you. And so the book just talks about the different emotions, the different feelings, the different way people make us feel. So like when it's my birthday and I'm having a party, I feel happy. When someone dies, I feel sad. And then I feel angry when my friend takes my toy, or maybe I feel frustrated when I'm talking to my sister and she's not responding. You get what I'm saying? So you delve into all these different types of emotions. There's one book called My First Day of School. So we talk about what the first day of school is going to be like, because we don't realize it. Kids get nervous, just like we get nervous when it's the first day of work. We don't know anybody there. We're like, oh my God, So the book follows a child in pre-K, I think, or kindergarten, who's going to school for the first time, leaving home, not knowing what to expect. So the book delves into that. There's so many. There's one, Community Helper is one of my favorites. Okay, my first community helper book. That book talks about different types of things that we can be. And it was so weird because the school in Liberia, when I introduced the books, the kids were excited. I did play-based learning. I did a whole session on it. I gave them all of the costumes to wear, and they started wearing it. When I would say, what do you want to be? Everybody was like police officer, doctor, because that's pretty much what many of them knew. So after reading the story, when I went back, the teachers have been reading the story. When I went back to Liberia recently, when I asked the kids, what do you want to be? Pilot, what did they say? Construction worker, librarian, all of the things the book was talking about, that they finally begin to understand that these are careers you can go into. It's not just about being a lawyer, a doctor, or a police officer. There are other things that you can do. Even the girls were saying construction worker, and many girls are taught differently. Maybe you should be a teacher, or maybe you should be this. Yeah, but now the girls are thinking, I want to be a scientist. I want to be a veterinarian. Oh, that blew them away. They didn't know what that was. I said, a veterinarian, is a doctor that works with animals, blah, blah, blah. And now you've got a couple of girls who will say, I want to be a veterinarian. I like animals. I want to take care of them. So you see, all of the books, they're stories, but they're teaching stories. So you learn through all of this. This is not a story that you just sit there and listen. Every single book, I was very intentional. Every single book teaches you something. The addition and subtraction book, oh, wait till you read that one. In that one book, we have several skills. Addition and subtraction are taught. Days of the week are taught. Months of the year are also taught in the same book. So on Sunday, I had 6 bananas. My mom gave me 4 more bananas. Now I have 10 bananas. So it's going Sunday, then on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, so it's going in that order. You get what I'm saying? So I try to keep it to where we're able to teach several different skills in one book. And all of this is a part of my curriculum. The curriculum is for pre-K and kindergarten. We have books that go along with it. We have a CD that teaches the letters and sounds. And the people on the CD are all kids. All children that are somehow either one parent or is connected to a librarian or is a librarian, and took the kids to the studio. We recorded that in the studio. So with my little cousin, actually, Lasana Ace Harris just won a couple of Grammys the other night. He did the production work. It was beautiful. The songs were written by me and a 12-year-old girl at the time. So I try to include a lot of young people to be a part of the process. But that's a curriculum that just, I'm in love with the curriculum, I will say. And all of the books that we've been able to write. There's just so many other stories that I don't have time to tell you about, but they're all a part of the series. And somebody just called today to send me a message today. They want to order like 14 sets. So yeah, we've been very blessed to get the work out there.
Okay, wow. We even shared yesterday briefly your phenomenal career. We might have to have a part 1, a part 2 this
No
conversation.
problem.
So because we're already out of time, but what I forgot to do to introduce a little more about give a little profile about you, which is Dr. Clarice Ford-Kulah is a philanthropist, a college professor, a writer, filmmaker, event planner, and owns a number of businesses, from schools to performing art companies. Currently, she runs an ALP Performing Arts Program, and that is completely free to the children of Liberia. And of course, she talked a little bit about her recent teaming up with Lisa Raye McCoy in LOT10 Productions and Studio 11 Films. to produce a critically acclaimed movie called Skin that was written by her, and it deals with the epidemic of skin bleaching. And then Dr. Kulah is also a writer, as she's just mentioned, some of her wonderful work with writing children's books, a producer and executive producer of Providence. A film was a historical film that was directed by Roger Bob, and producer of Tyler Perry's movies, starring Vivica Fox, Van Vicker, and some of the big names in film industry in Hollywood. So we just, again, what we decided to do, we might, if you have the time, we would like to have a part 2 to this. If you can find squeeze in your schedule to share a little more about, you just have a really, really amazing career. And we want to thank you and appreciate you for taking the time. Thank you so much for being on the Red Corner Show.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank you for having me. You too.
Thank you.
All right. Take care now.
Bye now.
Bye.